Hello and welcome to Live with Hillsdale Hospital. I'm your host, JJ Hodshire, President and Chief Executive Officer, and I'm in the studio today joined by a good friend of mine, someone who I've had the great pleasure and opportunity to get to know since I started working here at Hillsdale Hospital, and many of you know him. He is a very popular guy in our community, specifically at our ortho office. Ken Rubin, physician's assistant, nurse practitioner. And we're going to talk about your journey where you started off as a nurse. And you have a remarkable story.
Thank you.
And you worked very aggressively to get yourself to a point where you can be in a practice by yourself.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're seeing dozens of patients a day.
Absolutely.
So before we get started, I want to say thank you for the hard work that you have put into building our practice. Now, providers have come and gone.
True.
We have seen PAs come through, NPs come through. You've been pretty much the only NP come through the clinics, but you've been the constant. And I want to say thank you for your leadership and for what you have done for our patients and our hospital. And so thank you, Ken Rubin, nurse practitioner. And we're going to talk a little bit about your background and what you do out at Hillsdale Orthopedics. So you've been on here before.
Sure.
Many people know you. Let's start with that. So give us your background, though. Someone may be listening today that says, I don't know who this guy is.
Sure.
Give us your background. Then I want to get into some specifics about what you do at the clinic. So tell our listeners where you've been.
So I started off, I went in the United States Army 4 days after I graduated from high school, and it definitely changed me, became a lot more independent and more confident in my life. Wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do, but when they asked me what I chose as my job for the military, I chose the closest thing to a doctor, I said. And they put me in as a surgical technician. So I got to work in surgery and do a lot of assisting in surgery. I got to spend some time in the first Gulf War, and I got to do a lot of trauma surgery. First time as a 18, 19-year-old, seeing all kinds of interesting trauma from during the war, mostly POWs we saw. It made me a lot stronger mentally, I believe, for the type of jobs. And if you come across something a little stressful, it doesn't affect you as much when you've been through things much worse in the past. So it made me very helpful in the OR, and I did a lot of OR assisting. I got my RN, then I got my RNFA.
Go ahead, please. Yes, please. To the OR in the work you did. You were 2 tours. How many tours did you do?
So I did 1 tour of the Gulf War.
You did
and
Gulf
I spent
War.
some time in Egypt right after 9/11.
Okay, I knew that, right after 9/11. And in all of those capacities, you were working in medical?
So I actually changed from medical to combat engineer.
Okay.
So I did combat engineer my last 8.5 years.
And you probably hated that compared to what you did before.
Well, I missed their conditioning.
Yeah,
but other than that, I did enjoy it because you build things, then blow them up.
Yeah, but your heart is at service.
100%.
And service oriented. So then you get out of the military, and then you realize, what do I want to be when I grow up, right?
Correct.
So from that journey, you did some work, and you said, other ORs, right?
ORs first as a surgical tech, first assist.
Yeah, first assist. And where was that primarily? Was that Michigan or was
it? Was my very first job ever was actually in bariatrics in Hudson, Michigan.
Oh, no way! I didn't know that.
Yep. So I did
that.
So
the Kansas group?
No.
Oh no.
No. This is way back. I forget the doctor's name right this second.
Way
but it
back.
was 92.
Okay. Wow. So
92.
You're just right out.
Oh yeah. First job ever was bariatrics.
Bariatrics.
So I did that for 1.5 years or so. Then I actually worked at Hillsdale as a surgical tech for a few years while I was going to school full time.
Okay.
And then I went to Coldwater for 15 years after I had my RN.
So your nursing degree was spent primarily after you graduated in the OR though, right?
Correct.
Is that what you did? You didn't do med surg or?
You have to do a little
bit of that.
So I did a little bit of floor work and did a little recovery room.
Yeah.
But mostly has always been OR.
Yeah. And I've always been intrigued because you're the type of guy that reminds me of someone that says, you know what, I'm going to be a CRNA. But you chose, no, I want to do office work. I don't want to be stuck in that OR, right? Because you had a choice here even to stay in the OR or to go into the office. And you said to me, listen, for all many reasons that I have on my own, I want to get back into the office and I want to do full-time care for orthopedics.
So approximately I'd say almost 5.5 years ago, I actually had to leave the OR for a few reasons. Part of it was the medical. So I had some injuries in the military and I wasn't able to stand for 10 or 12 hours in surgery and I was losing feel in my fingers. So I do love clinic.
Yeah.
I didn't really know how much I'd love it until I started to do clinic.
Yeah.
But now it's passion.
Now you'd never go back to the
So
OR.
it's a passion for me. I love the job. I
Exactly.
love to have the patients
Yeah.
come in and try to help them. They've been having trouble for a while. They've gone to different places, and for me to be able to figure out their ills or their
Yeah.
issues
Yeah.
is a personal reward for me.
Yeah.
And it's a passion of me trying to make them feel better, knowing they came to me and they're better afterward.
Yeah.
That's an important
Absolutely.
part.
What year did you start Hillsdale? Do you recall?
10 and a half years ago.
So 10 and a half years ago.
Approximately.
Yeah. And prior to that, you did a private practice for a while over in Coldwater. Right?
Actually, I was at Henry Ford.
Henry Ford.
Henry
That's
Ford
right. That's right.
For 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And Dr.
Prior
Collins,
to that, you were. Yeah. That's
Dr.
right.
Collins brought
So
me
you
here.
came here for Dr. Collins, and then he sells his business and leaves.
And I was like,
and we got to keep you, which
and
was
I was
we got
very
the
happy
prize.
about that.
Yeah.
I said, "What are we going to do?" And you said, "We like you."
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And I think it's been a great relationship
It
ever
has.
since. But there's often confusion with, orthopedics in terms of when should I go? Who do I see when I go?
Absolutely.
I think it's worth just taking us through, really, if we were to look at a timeline. When someone is injured and they want to get in to be seen, historically, you would be the first person that would lay eyes on them in the office. And that's a lot of what you do.
Absolutely.
And obviously you follow patients through as well. But you're churning. I've seen some days where, there's 36 people
Easy.
coming through there,
Yep.
40 people. I think you had one day that was just crazy busy. But it's you're seeing a lot of patients for a lot of reasons. What I want you to do is talk a little bit about the profession of nurse practitioner.
Sure.
Because I think it's a very important one. As you know, we value our advanced practice providers here.
Absolutely.
Got you in the ortho clinic, but we also have all of these other folks in other clinics. We have a PA in the ortho clinic as well now.
Mhm.
And we have all of these other folks, NPs and PAs, that are in clinics, but they play a distinct role. And in ortho, why don't you explain that relationship of when do I see the orthopedic surgeon and when do I see Ken?
Absolutely. So it does kind of depend on the referral basis itself. So most of the times it comes from, let's say, our primaries. I've got quite a few from chiropractic in the last few months, I'd say, as well as from the ER. We're able to then assess what we see based off of x-ray, mode of injury, date of injury, history of the patient. And we can look at those things and say, we know this is surgical, let's say. And then I try to get them in immediately on a day that my surgeon's there.
Yeah.
And if he's full, then you're still going to see the surgeon.
Right.
But I'm going to see you first, and then we'll have you see the doctor. Or if it's something that's can be pushed out a little bit, then we may see you in 3 or 4 days or so. Try to get some of the swelling down before, let's say, I cast you. That's a very important one, because if someone puts a cast on within the first day or two of a fracture, then the swelling comes down, now your cast is falling off, you're coming back and saying, hey, this cast doesn't work. There's reasons behind sometimes the delay, and it's frustrating, I understand, for some people, but we try to have a good rapport and explain to the patients why their time frames might be tomorrow. It might be 6 days, it might be 4 days, but it all depends on the fractures, my surgeon's schedule, as well as what I'm seeing on your chart. So
and so ER visits, very common, especially in this time of year.
Absolutely.
As we're approaching falls, trips, slips,
ice and snow.
Yes,
sir.
But before we jump into the seasonal issues, let's talk a little bit more about the specifics. So post-surgical, you get a chance to see the patient as well?
Absolutely. So some of my surgeons, I have 2 currently right now, they like to see their first post-ops a lot of times, depending on the type of surgery, what was done. It was simple lacerations and things, most likely I'll see them immediately. But after like a large fracture, a lot of times the surgeon would like to see them that first post-op before they hand them off to myself or to Shay. So that's probably the difference between post-ops, and they choose themselves, the doctors, what date they'd like them to come back.
Right. Let's talk about our team, because it takes a team, and you've got great office staff.
Absolutely.
MAs, office coordinators. You also have x-ray out at your clinic.
We do.
And so you have a radiology, a tech that actually comes out there. Why don't you talk to us about the team, because you have a couple providers and you got several providers actually with U of T. Talk about who they are. And then we have a new addition, which is Shay.
Sure.
Talk a little bit about that, and then I
Absolutely.
want to talk about some other additions we're going to have.
Okay. So we have the wonderful opportunities to have a more or less full-time orthopedic surgeon through Dr. Carr, who does all kinds of trauma, total joints, and gets to do some of the latest techniques in regards to total joints, which I think is a blessing for our area.
I agree.
Dr. Hanna, we get him out of University of Toledo two days a week. He's a professor at University of Toledo also. His knowledge is awesome, so I'm able to touch off of knowledge off of him a lot and get things from him. And he's also does a lot of trauma, total joints, phenomenal. Does a lot of total joints at UT as well as here, which gives us the ability to see great, big trauma cases. And then Shay is the new nurse practitioner. She's helping us a lot so that we can actually get more new patients in quicker. So she's seeing a lot of the post-ops and post-fractures for us, which speeds us up now to be able to see a new patient or a new fracture or a new ER much quicker than we've ever been able to before, which is helpful, I think, for the community for sure. And our MAs,
as I say,
and our X-ray techs are all phenomenal.
Yeah.
And people say that, but I'm being seriously. We have a great team. We really do, and they really care about our patients and our community. And to have people that live in the community taking care of you, which has been talked about for Hillsdale Hospital in general, is something we forget about. And it's just a very helpful thing to think your neighbor might be taking care of your mother today.
It's incredible.
And it's an awesome opportunity for people to actually do care, and they're not just punching a clock around.
Absolutely.
So
I also have to give credit to our medical director, Dr. Hartman. And actually, Dr. Hartman's here because of you, and Dr. Carr is here because of you.
True.
Because when Dr. Patel, who is amazing, by the way,
Absolutely.
right? Great friend of many of ours, when he decided to go to Chicago, and to the chagrin of many of us, we certainly didn't want that. We had to let him go, and he was going regardless.
Absolutely.
But, you approached me and said, have you ever thought about a relationship with Dr. Hartman? And I never really gave it thought because, historically we've always had, he's had his practice, we've had ours. It's been a glorious relationship.
Absolutely.
Dr. Hartman is an incredible man. You worked for him and with him before. You recommended him. I had a chance to sit down with him. You recommended that we look at Carr, and we did. And I think this has been one of our best options for moving this program forward. Post the loss of Dr. Patel.
Absolutely.
And so we are blessed to have a phenomenal team. Now, Dr. Hartman doesn't get here much to do surgeries, but he certainly is welcome here. He does a lot of his surgeries at a surgery center that he owns, and then he's got a very active practice.
But he is a great resource.
He's a wonderful resource. I can text him at 11 o'clock at night, and he responds back. And it's so good. And it's just wholesome. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, don't bother me. It's like, JJ, never, ever waste time, saying that you're a problem, because you're not. Here's what we're going to do.
Correct.
And it's just so wholesome. And he's such a good guy. Very, very appreciative of what he's done, and his team and Dr. Carr. But let's talk a little bit about injuries, because that's what we're here for today. We're getting into a season where you see a lot of different types of injuries than you normally would see during the summer.
Absolutely.
But seasonally, there's all kinds of injuries, right? You have hunters going out that fall out of a stand. You got people that trip and slip on ice and snow. Take us through what you're experiencing right now. What have you seen a lot of recently?
So
what do you anticipate seeing?
Absolutely. So we've already had, I think, I don't know, it was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago or so, we had our first kind of dusting of snow. Maybe we got 1.5 inches, 2 inches. And we immediately had a couple of falls immediately that first week of fractures. And we haven't gotten really hit by the big winter snow of Michigan yet. But I do think we need to discuss every time, I'd like to do it more, but every year, that as the snow and the ices come, what do I see? So I start to see a lot of falls on front porches, or going off the back porch, or letting your dog out middle of the night to go, but not realizing that porch now is all ice. And they fall and they have fractured hips, fractured shoulders, or worse at times. Having some pre-planning of what I'm going to do with my dog at night. If I know I'm going to be letting him out at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, I may have salted at noon or 1 o'clock and I've been fine. But having this forethought of, is this a safe area for me to go out and walk and because the dog's ready. He's going to go and it's going to pull your grandmother or your grandfather off that porch. And then I see these really significant fractures. Obviously, parking lots, we never know when we get out of our car immediately, is this going to be something I need to look for? So having that little pre-planning when you first get out and look to, am I safe to get out of where I'm parking? My elderly grandmother or grandfather, or even Some fathers and mothers, we don't think about that at 7, 8 o'clock at night. Is this
No.
black ice?
Right.
And they slip and they fall
Mhm.
and they have fractures that we see a lot more as the ice starts to occur on our parking lot. So a little bit of thought process. Do I have good footing? What's the ground going to be like? May help us prevent some of these bad fractures and falls.
And age and healing plays
Absolutely.
a significant role, right? So you have a 84-year-old that walks out on her porch, it's not properly salted. She just says, I got to get out. I got to go get my hair appointment. I got to go to the grocery store. She falls, she breaks a hip. The outcome will be far
100%. There's actually great studies. I don't have the numbers to try to BS the numbers now, but the life expectancy after a hip fracture of a certain age is significantly decreased. So it's something to think about. They make these heated pads now. You can look them up on Amazon or whatever, where they plug in and they'll actually keep ice and snow from forming on your porch. They can actually buy a few of them and go down your block. Things to think about if you're really concerned about your parent or your grandmother, grandfather that may prevent a huge fracture, fall, or God forbid, loss of life. It's these things we think about now. We should think about before the snow and ice comes and prevent the fractures.
So that's seasonally, and it's always important for us to remember that. So talk to us a little bit about what you do in the clinic every day. So aside from the trips and slips that are happening in the winter, what are you normally dealing with?
So I see a variety of injuries or arthritis. Obviously, we have pains that I'm not sure why it's not gone away for a couple of months. I may have seen my primary, I may not have gone to my primary, and I'm just trying to figure out why I'm having this pain. I see a lot of that. Sometimes that's an arthritic thing. Sometimes it's an injury that happened 6 months, 1 year, 2 years ago. I've never got it treated or had time to go and get checked. Those are all things that I do see on a daily basis. I'm seeing a lot of basketball injuries, sports injuries, younger adults, college students,
football injuries,
rugby. I've had a few rugby actually in the last 4 or 5 weeks. We've had dislocated fingers. So I think sports injuries are always going to happen all year round. I'd say it's a lot of aches and pains, chronic arthritis pains, or slips and falls. A lot of ankle injuries still. I think that's the biggest things I see.
So I'm injured, right? Or let's take a step back. I am having this ache in my leg, and it's been there for a couple of weeks. When do I actually pick up the phone to address that? And and when I do that, am I calling my primary care, or can I get in right to see right away?
So I think insurances, I'm not an insurance guru, but I think there's some insurances, especially with some younger patients, where they have to be referred by their primary care. So I think that's something the patients themselves need to know.
Sure.
Me personally, I think that if you're having a pain that's either getting worse, it's affecting your activities of daily living, able to get around, do the things you normally want to do on a daily basis, and I can't do those things anymore, you need to come see me. And if that means calling your primary and asking them to refer, or they want to see you and then refer, that's fine. Obviously, if it's significant enough that the pain is keeping you up all night, or it's a new pain, you probably should go to the ER for sure. We don't want to lose, time frame of how bad something could be, blood clots, or things that we don't catch right away. But when I see the patients for a new onset of pain for 2 weeks without a true injury, I'm going to rule out worst case scenarios first. So that x-ray that we're able to take right in my office helps me more or less rule out, is it a lesion? Is it some sort of cancer? Is it a growth? I can rule out that pretty quickly. Then after my first minute or two, I hope, I can assess, is this a blood clot? Is this something that's life-threatening? So my goal is to get rid of worst case scenarios immediately for you, make sure you're going to be healthy and safe, and then I'll move on to, okay, let's figure out what exactly is wrong and how to treat it and make you better. So I always rule out worst case first, then try to treat and make you better.
I had a lot of community members come to me about 8 years ago saying, we can't get into your orthopedic clinic. We've tried, it's 3 months down the road. I think we've done a remarkable job at creating access.
Absolutely.
And we brought on the partnership with University of Toledo. We've added now a new physician's assistant to your clinic.
NP, yep.
Is she a nurse practitioner?
She
I'm
is.
sorry. Okay. So a nurse practitioner, Shay. And so we've added her to the clinic.
Absolutely.
And we continue to put resources at, the orthopedic clinic to make sure the patients can get seen timely, because when you have an injury, waiting a day can feel like a week.
Absolutely.
And a week can. So do you feel we're getting those patients through sooner now?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that compared to where we were, I mean, there was loss of physicians. There was a period of time we had locums for a little while. We had less MA staff.
Right.
All of those things slow down our ability to see patients. And let's be honest with each other. We can see 60 patients a day, but would I be able to give the care that you might need if I saw 60 a day? Probably not.
Right.
So just because someone gets you in tomorrow,
right,
or tonight,
that's right,
does not necessarily mean you're getting the very best care that you need either.
That's a great point.
So because I keep my numbers between 20, 28 at the worst, I'd say it sometimes 20 to 26, I feel like I can give my time to each patient and not miss the weird stuff, not miss the scary stuff.
Right.
I believe that Dr. Carr is exactly the same way. We try to never increase our numbers to the point that we can't give proper care.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's something we have to find, that fine line of, I do double books. And if I have a call from a primary today or the ER today,
you get them in.
I get you in today.
Yeah, that's the beauty of what your practice is doing now, is that
absolutely
you do allocate time for emergent or urgent cases
absolutely
to come in. And that's usually post-discharge from the ER next day,
or
there's a significant need, or at least a call
from the local chiropractor that they walked in there and they saw an x-ray with a fracture. And he's like, hey, Ken, I'll get him in today.
Yeah.
And primary care calls and they said, hey, we sent somebody over to the hospital, we got an x-ray, and they got the report back. It's a fracture. We don't have the right splinting material. I will get you in. But that's because I have these numbers where I feel like I can still fit these patients in, give them the proper care, and not have you have to wait a day or two with a fracture without the proper splint or boot or whatever. So I do think that's something we have to think about as patients sometimes is, Ken told me I can't come in for 48 hours, but I'm going to get really great care.
Absolutely.
But if I go somewhere else and they say I can get you in tonight, will you get
maybe
2
it's
minutes?
Assembly line.
Yeah. Will you get 2 minutes? Are they going to say, okay, we're going to see somebody in 2 weeks from now? That does not necessarily mean it's better for you.
That's right.
So something to consider.
It's a great point. It's a great point. So speaking of office and getting people through, we have some changes coming.
Absolutely.
And I'm excited, and I know you're excited, and the folks that are going in there are very excited. And I'm pleased to announce for the very first time here on this program today that I am opening up your office, and you're kind enough and gracious, Dr. Carr, yourself, Dr. Hartman. I've had numerous conversations with all of you and Shay about what our goals are, and the goals are going to be aligned very, very closely, because we are bringing neurosurgeon to your office.
We are.
And we had to make some space. And I know that there was a provider that was in there, or a service that was in there through Henry Ford.
Correct.
And it's nothing against them. It's nothing as an affront to them. But we needed space and create that utilization of space. The way that we did that is we had to look at our partnerships. And this is one that we said, you know what? We need Hillsdale Hospital services. And in doing that, we were able to make some headway. And we are actually in January, we're bringing Dr. Loganathan and his team to your clinic. I'm excited. Dr. Loganathan is a neurosurgeon. He starts full-time with Hillsdale Hospital in January.
Sure, yep.
He's already here full-time, but he'll actually be working solely for Hillsdale Hospital. I'm very excited about that. Dr. Loganathan, I get so many amazing reviews about him. You actually introduced me to him virtually once when you said, hey, we're referring some people up to Loganathan. You should look at him. And, I again procrastinated, and I shouldn't have. But to the continuous beating of Ken Rubin, I did make contact, and I did speak with Dr. Loganathan, met with him, and realized I got to have this guy. And I worked very aggressively to get him. He's phenomenal. Him and his wife, Nikki, they've been a great team. Now, Nikki will no longer be working in that office. I have other plans for her and what she'll be doing for us at the hospital.
But she's absolutely helping with the transition.
She is. She's going to
come over and help transition.
She is.
She's wonderful.
Very excited about that. But then we're going to have other things for her to do. But very excited about that, because then you have x-ray services, radiology services that are going to be in that clinic. We've got the opportunity to share with even your services.
Absolutely.
I mean, they connect.
They do.
And why don't you talk to us a little bit about that relationship? When do you refer to neuro? And I want to ask one last thing before we go today, but I want to start with that, the relationship with neurosurgery.
So I've had a decent relationship with Dr. Logan Nathan for quite a few years. And I've always been able to be on a phone call basis with him, even when he was in Jackson.
Yeah.
So I saw patients, a lot of times I get referrals for shoulder pain or arm pain. And as soon as I see them after the first 1 or 2 minutes, I'm realizing it's not their shoulder, it's their neck. And they've been treated for 6 weeks, 8 weeks for shoulder pain. And they actually have a disc pressing in the neck, causing this shoulder pain, nerve pain. It's one of the more significant pains that we can have down your arm. And I'll get the cervical spine x-ray in my office. And depending on what I see, consider the MRI and then refer to Dr. Logan Nathan. I've had 2 more or less medical emergencies in my office in probably 10 years, where I saw a patient that had loss of some bowel functions in lower leg extremities, and they call it cauda equina syndrome. And I was able to call him immediately, and they were able to take him to surgery that day because it's pretty quickly needs to be done. But having somebody like that in our vicinity or in our community now is something we can get done in our own hospital.
Absolutely.
And I can call him up or even
walk over to his
down
office.
down the hall now and say, hey, could you take a look at this? And it could be something that's going to be taken care of that exact same day or within hours. So that's a huge plus. He gets referrals opposite. So he'll get patients sent to him saying it's neck pain. And after further review, it's like, Ken, I think this is a cuff.
Right.
Do you want this? And he'll send it over
to me.
Relationship. And he'll send me referrals. I bet I get at least 1, if not 2 a week from his office for rotator cuff.
And vice versa.
And I give him a few a week easily that's more cervical or lumbar, because somebody thinks it's hip pain.
Right.
And it's actually their lumbar spine.
But you do that consult now in the office in real time.
Significantly different.
Walking down, knocking on his door, vice versa.
And get them set up for the next appointment.
Because the patient is in the middle. And we can make this so seamless and so great. So
no faxing the paper, waiting for the fax to be read. Then your appointment's called.
You're looking at him in the eyes.
We're getting him set up today.
Yeah, that's incredible. So announcing that today for the first time, Dr. Logan Nathan and his team will be coming to the orthopedic clinic. And we're so excited to welcome him in January. More about that here in the future with some announcements, but we're excited to do that. One last thing, Ken, I want to talk about.
Yes,
the relationship of physical therapy post your intervention, because they play a relationship.
Absolutely.
And what you talk to us about, when would we invoke PT, PTOT services?
So absolutely. So I use a lot of OT specific. I use some PT too, don't get me wrong. But our OT over at Hillsdale Hospital, I have a great relationship with him, Curtis, I believe. Curtis. And he's wonderful. I can call him anytime I want to. A lot of my shoulders, hands, every post-op shoulder will be going to him. If I have any upper extremity issues, I contact them. Some of our knees and some of our hips don't go to therapy, to total hips and total knees, and some do. And of course, they're going to go to our physical therapy department, and they usually try to get them involved even before discharge. They're seen up at the hospital, make sure they're able to be safely discharged by our own physical therapy team.
They walk right in.
Refer right back over to the same kind of correlation going right to our outpatient therapy from the hospital therapy. So that's a very good transition also. Insurance. So some insurances won't allow me to do any further imaging, depending on if they have had any therapy or not. And I have a great rapport with Hillsdale Therapy for that also. And they know that they see one of my patients that has shoulder, knee, whatever. If a couple of weeks they're not improving, they're not getting better, they're getting worse, I can get a note from that therapy stating they're not improving from therapy, and that then allows me to then get that imaging I require of an MRI to potentially get them to surgical intervention if needed. So I have a great rapport with therapy for that reason too.
And so you may refer to them, right? They may come back to you, the patient.
Absolutely.
And this may go on for a while, right? You may have that relationship. So it's
I usually see them 5 to 6 weeks of starting therapy if they're improving.
Right.
If they're not improving, I get that letter and I order them MRI, and they come back and discuss surgical intervention.
Right. So great relationship at that place. Hillsdale Hospital. Obviously, we have inpatient and outpatient PTOT and speech therapy services. So if you're considering a PT and someone tells you have to go somewhere outside of Hillsdale, that is not true. You can go right here to Hillsdale. We will see those patients on the floor before discharge. So post-discharge, then you have access to go to our PT center, an OT center, which is located at 3 Meadows. Plenty of opportunities, even in Ken's practice, to get the referral back if you need it. They play a great relationship with each other. Before we close today, and I'm putting you on the spot because I didn't ask you this in advance, but Do you have a favorite story of someone that you treated who integrated back, that did very well? Not their name, of course,
Sure.
but the scenario that really just made you feel like, you know what, my calling. You know, being in the military, you had a calling every day. Here, it can get frustrating to see 30 people a day, and it's
Sure.
almost like the nomenclatures are setting in, and it's just
Absolutely.
repetitive. But do you have a favorite story?
I have a few that's held
Okay.
on,
Yeah.
right? It's an interesting question. So I think without going into details too much, I've had a patient come in that had actually bounced around Cleveland Clinic, U of M, and had chronic pain, their body, young patient. Mother came with her on a couple occasions, and like we're at the wit's end. And I said, let me see what they've done research wise, checked out the labs. I wasn't an expertise in this field at all, but I wanted to get to the bottom of it because it's a passion, like you said, for me to try to figure out.
Yeah.
And after going through some reads of the labs and some of the things that were done, it helped kind of guide me to what I thought was the problem. And then I ordered a special lab and sent them back over to a specialist at the U, and they were able to find the diagnosis for the
Wow.
patient.
That's incredible.
And since that time,
Life-changing.
It was, because the patient has to get treatments every week or so, but it allows them to function.
Wow.
They were told if they were to have had a birth at some point, it probably wouldn't have made it through it.
Wow.
And knowing that kind of protected them from something that they may have lost their own life,
Yeah.
Is a huge thing to me. And to this day, that person and their mother will thank me.
Wow.
Whenever they see me every 6 months or a year or whatever it is. And that's one of the ones that have really touched me, and I'll always remember that.
Yeah.
There's been a few other ones, of course, but that one
pretty
specifically
memorable.
is hitting me the most.
Yeah.
But they still to this day always make sure
That's incredible.
they say, hey, my mom says thank you.
Yeah.
My mom says thank you. And it's
Well,
just
it's life-changing.
and it's because I didn't just blow it off and go,
Correct.
well, if Cleveland Clinic didn't
Yeah.
figure it out,
Yeah.
it's you.
The number of people that suffer and don't seek treatment is amazing, and just suffer through. And then some people that seek treatment, but they don't get the reception at certain places, big institutions that
Sure.
don't really take interest in them. It's a number. It is.
Right.
And here at Hillsdale Hospital, I think that's what makes us unique. We invest in every one of our patients. I'm not beating up the big systems, but you can get lost easily in the big systems.
Absolutely.
Here we go to church together. We go to, we shop with each other.
Absolutely.
We see this relationship. And then whatever you can't fix, you may say, we have a pain clinic.
Absolutely.
We have Loganathan, or we have this service. And the opportunity to have a full continuum of care as a rural hospital, number one, is rare.
Sure.
For a rural hospital to have what we have.
Absolutely.
But number two, when we get it right, man, it's life-changing.
It is.
And it's pretty powerful.
And the resources that we have here of a professor of UT and a Michigan State graduate, surgeon with the latest techniques and surgeries, and Dr. Hartman with his years of experience, and Dr. Logan Nathan with his experience, I can get a hold of any one of them at any time and say, hey, I've got this odd thing, and they can help guide me immediately. I think is a huge plus for our area here.
It's incredible. Ken, thank you. I know you've got practice today to get back to, but I really appreciate your dedication and your hard work for our patients. And that's what you always put first. And you often remind me of that. It's not about Ken. It's not about what the orthopedic clinic needs today. It's really what do our patients need. And you've always kept our patients above everything else. And I appreciate that. So thank you, Ken. Thank you to our listeners. All of this is possible because you use our services. And if there's ever a time when you're being told that you don't, aren't able to use our services because your insurance won't allow that, let us know. I'd love to hear those stories because we will fight hard for you. If you go to another provider and they're telling you that, no, you can't go see Ken or that orthopedic surgeon, we want you to go here. And if it's not your preference and your choice and you want to stay local right here in your backyard, experts in their fields, you don't have to travel. And through that process, we can keep this enterprise and this operation moving forward. This year, we celebrate 110 years of existence, Ken. 110 years. And the availability to say that, hopefully in another 110 years, is dependent on one thing: the trust of our community to use our services. Absolutely. It's that simple. Use our services and increase our volume, allows opportunities for us to have referrals for Ken, general surgery, you name it. All of these services in our backyard. It's so rare that rural hospitals have it, but it's because we entrust you to utilize our services. And in turn, you are entrusting us with your care. And it's a great reciprocal relationship that we have with you as our patients and our community. So if you want to know about all of our services, go to our website, hillsdalehospital.com. You can see those services. If you're thinking, you know what, do you have hyperbaric medicine? Oh, yeah, we do. We have 2 hyperbaric chambers. Oh, do you have pain clinic? Yes, we do. Staffed with 2 full-time certified CRNAs that actually show up every day and deliver care every week, every day in its own beautiful little alcoved unit. You don't even have to get mixed in with the regular sick patients that you're thinking, I don't want to come there and get the flu. You don't have to. You walk right up and you get the services that you need. We have clinics outside of the hospital, plenty of opportunities. But if you want to look for those services, look online, hillsdalehospital.com. Also, if you're looking to join an award-winning team, I know I said it before and I'm not allowed to talk about it, but we're going to be announcing some other awards that our team has won. And we're going to be talking about that. I'm getting the look in the future, but it is an award-winning team. And this is an award-winning hospital because our employees love to work here. But we have job openings, plenty of them, dozens, in fact. If you want to look for a job and an opportunity to advance your career, go to hillsdalehospital.com. Under the career tab, you can see jobs, and many of them are entry level. But what we've been able to do is start someone in admitting. That individual went back to get their RN degree. It's very common. Goes back and gets their CRN, goes back and gets their PhD, whatever it is. There's plenty of opportunities and a pathway for you to advance your career. So look no further. Go to our website, apply for a job, join Team Hillsdale Hospital. We'd love to have you. And every week, we bring these type of programs to you to educate and to bring awareness to the services that are available in your backyard so you don't have to travel. I would encourage you to go to our website and look at available services for you and your family, and to also download our podcast, Rural Health Today, wherever you get your podcast. Download it, subscribe, give us a like, all those great things. We'd love to hear from you. But we are talking on our podcast about rural health in our nation. What can we do to sustain rural health in this country? Because 160 hospitals have closed in the last decade, and many, many more are projected to close in the next 10 years. How do we prevent that? And that's what we do every day as we have discussions nationally about how to keep enterprises like rural hospitals engaged in their community and entrusting of their patients. So please download, subscribe wherever you do that. And I wish you a happy Thanksgiving. It's coming right up, Ken.
Absolutely. Happy Thanksgiving.
Coming up,
everybody.
whether you celebrate turkey or ham or whatever it is, we would encourage you to please consider helping those in need this year. Hillsdale Hospital has done that. We have been blessed to be able to help many families, and we've done that through the food banks. An announcement that we have made recently was hundreds and hundreds of turkey breasts that we have donated to our community, as well as thousands of pounds of non-perishable goods that are through many of our food banks. If you're in need this Thanksgiving, there is no need to look further. We have opportunities for you to receive a meal. If you go to the Salvation Army, King's Cupboard, El Bethel, there's places like that. I think we're even listing those on our site. So if you want to look there, you can see where you can pick up food donations, and we'd love to be able to help you. We know that healing, it's about food that you'd eat. It's part of our healing process. It's also about our well-being and our mental well-being to have food. So please, if you're in need, there's resources. If you're a fat cat like Ken and I, you know what? You can make some donations and you can give, and that's important as well. We have a giving tab now that's available on our website. And we'd love for you to make a gift. If you find yourself this holiday able to help others. We don't want to just do it at Thanksgiving. We want to do it all year round. And that's a commitment that we've made. We have another holiday coming up with Christmas in which individuals and families gather. We'd love to be able to provide meals for that as well. But we need your help as the community to make that donation possible. So thanks for joining us today. Thanks for understanding the value of rural health in this country, but as well as in this community. Thanks for using us. And until we see you again, remember the power of rural.